Hi, welcome to Integrative Preparedness. I'm Steve Smith. I want to do a book review today on a book that I just got done with and like a lot, and think that everybody should get it. I should mention um, first, I just put up a Patreon only video over on Patreon, obviously, on why I carry cross draw, why you might want to consider it. So if you're interested in that at all, it's over on the Patreon page. The link is down here in the description. So check it out if you'd like. Okay, a book. I don't think I've ever done a book review before, so I don't know if I'll be very good at it. But the book is so good, I don't think that I can fail on it. The book, first off, I'll tell you what it is. It is Survivalist Family: Prepared Americans for a Strong America. That's it right there. Survivalist Family. It's by Joe Fox over on Viking Preparedness. I've mentioned before a couple of times how Joe and I crossed paths. I think he found, and I might get this story a little bit wrong. Doesn't really matter. Somehow he ran across my book, emailed me, said he liked it. I said thank you. Sent him my other books. He sent and he did a really nice review on the reversion, and then he sent me his book, and I started it. Um, gosh, back it's been some time. It was right when I was entering my busy season, and uh, and I started it and I really liked it, but I got so busy I had to set it aside for a while. Last week I started to pick it up again, and I hoped I'd be done within a week. Well, I we had a rainy day or something, and I finished it that day. I liked it so much. He and I somehow in one of the comment sections or something, I said I didn't know if you wanted me to review it. He said, please do. Uh, be honest, the good and the bad. And so I thought, well, should I look for some bad? Well, I didn't really look, but even without looking, there's nothing bad in it. And so I've been looking forward to doing this review. Um, as any of you know who have followed Joe over on Viking Preparedness, Joe's a guy who knows what he's talking about. He doesn't just talk it; he walks it. He lives the life that he talks about. And boy, if that is not refreshing. Um, out here in the world, we got a lot more talkers than doers. Um, I kind of compare them. I break people down, and those of us who have been in certain things, and whether it was the military like Joe, or police like me, or the martial arts, or fighting, or whatever, we know that the world is a lot more populated with people who like to act like they've done something than who have actually done something. I remember I used to tell my dad that when I'd go to parties, sometimes I wished that that I sold insurance for a living, because w then they wouldn't think that they knew everything about my job. You know, that people find out you're a cop, and all the TV shows are about cops, and everybody thinks they know all about your job, and it's exciting to them, and they want to talk about it. The military is the same way. The preparedness, in this circle. So you're going to have a lot more talkers than doers, and I compare them. I call them the difference between rocks and skippers. You throw a rock in a pond, a good sized rock that's got some substance to it, and it's going to sink to the bottom. And if that, and then it's going to know what the pond's about. You take a flat rock and throw it, and it'll skip across the surface, and get to the other side across the creek or whatever, and it's only hit a couple of times. It doesn't even know anything about what's down in the pond, or the the stream. It just skipped the surface, and then it acts like it's been in the pond, right? And I call those kind of people skippers. And there's plenty of people out there. On the rare occasion where I go to get together with some people of my background and group, the doers are relaxed, and we have a good time and talk and chat. But there's always those little ones that flit around the outside that want to talk about, you know, talk, and there are so many of those. This why I don't like, and I have not read very many um, preparedness books, survival books. Too many. I mean, I've been in this a long time, and there's really not much new out there. And after you've read a couple, and I've tried to read a couple, but it's pretty much the same old thing. Uh, some people just get all their information. Most people actually get all their information from reading books or listening to somebody or going to a class, and these books end up with a whole bunch of lists and a whole bunch of obvious ideas wrapped up in trying, them trying to sound like they're pretty intelligent, and it just doesn't do anything for me, so I don't read very much. This is a an exception. It's an exceptional exception, if I can say that. Once I got to reading this, not only um, did I enjoy it, first off, the information is great. The presentation of the information is great. This is not a dry book of do this, then do that, and then do this, then do that, and here's what you ought to do, and Joe, if you've watched him over at Viking Preparedness, he's a down to earth guy. He tells it like it is, and he knows how it is, so he can tell it how it is. Um, he approaches this entirely differently than the other books that I have tried to read. And it approaches it from a family perspective. But of course, it can be applied to an individual as well. Um, the way that he writes is comfortable. Um, he attacks the situation in a way that I would imagine would be easily understood. I'm sure it's easily understood from the very beginner to someone who's got years of experience like I, and enjoys it. And I enjoyed it, as I said, because of the way that he approaches it. Um, I had mentioned some time ago that one of the chapters was how to get the family involved in preparedness, and I mentioned at the time that I wished that I had read that chapter in his book before I started trying to get my family involved, because I would have done it a lot differently and better. For that chapter alone, it's worth the money that you would pay for it. But it's not just that. It describes he describes and shares with the reader his path in preparedness, from when he started becoming interested in it and realizing the importance of it. How he and his wife, how he developed in it, and then got their children involved in it. He describes or shares with the reader a very comfortable and concise and complete way that everyone can do it as well. It's if we have to. He doesn't spend a lot of time trying to convince people about the importance of preparedness. I'm sure he understands, as I do. We all realize that if you have to explain it, it's you know, that's a tough row, right? It's difficult to explain something to a person who doesn't have the background to understand it or the information to understand it. And, they might come along slowly on their own later as they learn more information. But it's a tough nut to crack, to try to convince someone who doesn't understand the importance of something that it's important. Well, he doesn't spend a lot of time trying to convince. What he does is lays the groundwork, gives the roadmap for how somebody starting off brand new can start being prepared, and a way that they can use their daily life as the classroom for it. How they can apply this in their daily life. How they can use life as practice for those things that many of us believe are coming. You know, whatever that may be, it doesn't matter. I think that the thing that most stands out in this book is his approach. You want to read it. You feel like he's talking to you. And you feel like you're just sitting around and talking to a guy who knows what he's talking about. And he's sharing his information and sharing his story and sharing the ways that he would suggest you do things. And there are a lot. Now, I know plenty, but there's a lot of things in here that I said, you know what? That's a good idea. I have not done it that way. And I'm glad that I read it. I tell you how good I think this book is. It's everybody should have it. Everybody should have it, and everybody should read it. And I think it's so good that I'm probably even going to, even though he sent me this one, I don't think that you can leave reviews on Amazon um, unless you've bought it. And I think I'm going to actually buy one on Amazon just so that I can leave a review because I want to, because it's that good. And I'll give that as a gift to somebody who's getting into it or looking for a way to get their family more involved in it, and such as that. So I would suggest, again, the name is Survivalist Family: Prepared Americans for a Strong America. And it's by Joe Fox over at Viking Preparedness. And if you don't have this book, you need to get it. And, let him know that I recommended it. And you're going to like it. It's going to be an important book for you to have. And it's one that you'll go back and refer to. Read it again. It'll be like sitting down with an old friend, having him share his knowledge and experience with you, and then keep it around to refer to uh, later on. And you'll be glad you did. So that's one. I always say we prepare well today in order to live well tomorrow. Well, I'll tell you what, the best thing you can do today is buy this book. So I'll say bye bye, and I'll talk to you later. Bye bye.